To place our type. Type is usually something you also want to have worked out before you begin a project. It's okay to make some adjustments and changes, but you should have these things deeply considered because the type that you choose has personality attached to it. There's typefaces that are bolder and louder than other typefaces. Some typefaces are like really thin and quiet and small, while others are like Impact, for instance, the name of a typeface that already sounds loud, right? It's trying to get people to say like, hey, this is significant information. I'm making an impact. Like that's its personality as a typeface. Uh, the other thing too that you want to consider when doing type is separation of information through type. How do you create contrast between different blocks of information? One strategy would be to differentiate between a serif and a sans serif. So you'll deal with little serif tags on serif typeface. So that's Times New Roman is a serif typeface. Sans serif means without serifs. That would be like Impact or Helvetica, where it's more geometric and hard edged, where you're not getting those hangovers. So you can say like, oh, I'll write the title in a serif typeface, and then all supporting information will be separated through a sans serif. So for instance, maybe the logo will be serif. So I'll come over here. I'm going to get the type tool. Oh, what's that? That's new. Let's go to Properties panel. Move this up a little bit. So now I have my type options here. I'm going to change the color to something I can see against that black silhouette. So I'll do a off-white. Still can't see. Oh, there we go. Typography. And let's go here. Keyboard shortcut to increase your type, you're going to hold Shift and Command, and the period key will increase the size, and then the comma will decrease its size as a whole. Let's also make sure I'm in the proper layer. Ah, that's why I can't see it. Remember your stacking order? There it is. And then now I'm going to go shopping for a nice typeface. Mr. Eves is pretty nice, actually. But what you can do is you can highlight your word, and then you can start just using the arrow key to see how that word lives in different settings. I trust that you all have awareness of typefaces if you've taken other design courses, and that there's some typefaces that you should just never use in your life. Like Comic Sans is one. What else is out there? I like Helvetica. But it's the elitist in you saying that. This is Impact. I was talking about this one. So we'll use that just to be louder. Papyrus. Definitely don't use papyrus. Chalk duster. Please don't use chalk duster. No, I said I was going to go serif with that. This is why you want to have your typeface worked out before you start. The other thing I like to use typefaces that have a large family attached to it. So the family would be like bold, italics, normal, light, extra light. The more options you have, the more separation you can create within that type family. Bodonis are really nice. Serif. All right, now I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to get rid of my properties. Let's go to my horizontal navigation, and I'm just going to go ahead and type in sample 01. Now this one I'm going to turn into a sans serif to create separation. So for instance, if I open up Helvetica, you can see I have all these different family members. Or Mr. Eves also has a lot as well. Or not a lot, some. But my favorite sans serif right now is Source Code Pro. Look at all these. Go light. And then I need to fit it into that space, so I'm going to shrink it down. Color, let's change the color. Let's make it black for right now. And because I like this placement, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to block these out. Where did my... Oh, I need new guides. So I'll block these out. Now I can go in and turn those layers off. Place that inside. I'm going to go ahead and just duplicate these layers. To do that, keyboard shortcut is Command J. Now I can just drag those over. Hold shift and that'll maintain its alignment. Oops. There we go. And now I'm going to block out these on this side. Keyboard shortcut is if you're dragging from the top, which is my style. I love dragging from the top. The sides, it's a further distance to go with your hand. If you're going up, down, it's shorter. So to make this horizontal vertical, you just hold the Option key, and it'll rotate your guideline. And now I'm going to select this. I'm going to turn off these shapes. I can now borrow these. So I'm just holding the Option key down and dragging. Now I forgot where those guys are. Let's also put those in the proper area. So that's going into the vertical. I'm going to take the opacity down so I can see through. You can use your arrow keys to fine tune and adjust properly. And then now I'm going to scale these all up. Command T. I just want them to be the same size as my guide. So it's not going to be the same height because your type needs to be adjusted. So you can generalize and maybe just place it in the center of that blocked out area. Let's put it in a line. And right now I'm just using my layer to select the object. And I'm using the arrow key to fine tune and adjust. Now my copyright for my footer, I'm going to go ahead and select my content, wrong artboard, and I'm going to find its center. And now I'm going to align my footer center with center. Now I'm going to create my copyright. So to create a copyright symbol, you're going to do Option G. And 2020 sample. Because I need to know where that bottom is. Command H to hide. And then now we can turn off those blocks. That's pretty nice, nice and clean. It's legible. You can clearly see where the links are displayed. It's easy to tell that this is going to be an area featuring something. And this right here, you know, defines itself as being super important. That this is, you know, maybe the title, right? Because it stands out as a different shape. It's one of the larger objects. That's not the main content. Down here we have periphery information. So that would be, you know, stuff that you don't, it's like, do you ever get annoyed when someone like signs their painting at the bottom and you're just like, oh, that's like really kind of tacky. You like, this is just so people don't legally, you know, do things. And it just kind of stakes a claim for legality. But this doesn't need to be super huge. It can be smaller. It's kind of like the fine print area. It's also a nice indication to let people know how old the website is as well. Do you ever like find information, you're like, I knew it, but then you discover that it's like 10 years old, like a news story or something? I was trying to find the debates the other day on YouTube, and I was doing it through my TV, and I kept landing on old recordings of debates, but I would start watching them. I'd be like 20 minutes in, and then they're like, yeah, it's July. I'm like, what? So it just gives everyone notice that, you know, this is from this year at least. But what's due on Wednesday, end of day, is to have your sketches completed and to have these two layouts completed as well. By end of day Wednesday. I wasn't recording? Whoops. Oh, wait, no, I am.